Jada is back at it here to give everyone my top 100 favorite movies of all time, part 10. This will be concluding my 10-part series of ranking my favorite movies, but before I do that, there's a few things I have to cover. Number one, in my last video of this particular series, which was part 9, my favorite movies number 20 to a number 11, I had mentioned that Butterfly Effect was my 17th favorite movie of all time, which is true. But I also said that Elizabeth Mitchell was in that movie, which is actually incorrect information. She is not in Butterfly Effect. However, she is in Frequency. And I think when I said Butterfly Effect, I started thinking of events from Frequency because they're both similar movies in fact in terms of they go back and change the past. And I guess my mind, I don't know what happened, but I wanted to correct myself because it really bothers me when I say something that stupid. And then another thing, unfortunately, doing all this list, prepping all this was very time consuming and it was a lot of fun. But there's a couple movies that actually slipped through the cracks and should have been on the top 100 favorite movies of all time. I don't know specifically where they would be. I can kind of give an estimate of where they would be. And I don't know how this happened, but first movie, The Negotiator with Samuel L. Jackson. That should be around number 50, maybe 60, somewhere in there. It's a movie I've liked for a long time, ever since I've seen it. And somehow, some way, it slipped through the cracks. When I do this ranking again, which will be probably within 2 years, or if my favorite movie of all time changes, which I'm sure it won't, I will definitely include Negotiator on that list. And then another one that would probably be around the 30s, somewhere 30s, 40s, 25, 30, I don't know where specifically. This one also slipped through the cracks, and that would be the Nicolas Cage version of Gone in 60 Seconds. I love that movie. I think it's great. It's very entertaining, and it just it got overlooked by accident, so I'm not happy about that. I almost wanted to do this all over again, but when I noticed it, I already had 7 videos recorded for this series and already posted, I think 6 of them. So I just went with it, but I wanted to let you guys know that. And of course, I've said this in every video, just in case, this is my favorite movies list. It's not the 100 greatest movies, or in this video, 10 greatest movies. So we are going to disagree. If you want to give me your opinion, that's fine. If you want to leave a copy of your favorite movies list in the comment section, that's awesome. I'll take a look at it. And of course, if you want to leave a link to a YouTube video that you've done of your favorite movies, you're more than welcome to do that. I will definitely check that out and give you some feedback on that. And of course, I don't have any older movies on this list. Every movie that's been on this list has been 1980 or newer. And I know a lot of people are complaining that I don't have To Kill a Mockingbird or It's a Wonderful Life or Casablanca or anything like that. Sorry, not now. Maybe someday I'll watch a bunch of older movies that I haven't seen, which I have seen, To Kill a Mockingbird. Just been forever since I've seen it, so you should know about that. And of course, I don't know what I'm going to say about the movie, but I know what movie I'm going to name, so there may be spoilers. So just keep that in mind. But let's start the final ranking off my top 10 list, and the movie that comes in at number 10, a movie I really enjoy. It was higher up before, but so many good movies have come out that I had to lower it, and that would be National Treasure. This was an awesome movie, a great performance by Nicolas Cage. I also like Justin Bartha, Diane Kruger, Sean Bean, Jon Voight. It worked. Of course, Harvey Keitel's in it. It kind of reminds me, it seems a little bit like Indiana Jones meets Da Vinci Code. You've got Benjamin Gates, played by Nicolas Cage, who has to figure out all these clues to find treasure or get to another clue that will lead him to a treasure, and it just works. Well, eventually, his friend, played by Sean Bean, Ian, wants to steal the Declaration of Independence because there's a clue on the Declaration of Independence that leads probably to another clue that leads to a treasure. Well, Nicolas Cage's character, Benjamin Patrick Gates, steals the Declaration of Independence to prevent Ian from stealing the Declaration of Independence with help from Justin Bartha's character, which I'm drawing a blank on his name in the movie. It'll come to me in a second. And then you have Diane Kruger's character, Abigail Chase, is like somebody that works for that office, and people call and talk to her. Well, she gets in on it because she knows that he took it, and she tries to get him. And it's a great movie, and I really, really enjoy it. Now Justin Bartha's character is going to annoy the hell out of me. It's just right there. It's Benjamin Gates, Abigail Chase, Ian, and Riley. Yes, Riley. Riley is Justin Bartha's character. He's great in it. And John Voight plays Benjamin Gates' father. It's just a fun movie. If you haven't seen National Treasure yet, I highly recommend it. It's a fun family movie. It does have a sequel. The sequel isn't bad. It's just not as memorable because we've already seen that movie. It's kind of the first movie redone with a little bit different elements, a different villain, Ed Harris instead of Sean Bean's character. So check it out. National Treasure, my number 10. Number 9, a classic. One of the biggest blockbusters of all time, well, at least until Marvel movies came out. Independence Day. I enjoyed Independence Day. I had no idea what I was getting into going to see this the day it came out in the theater, which I think was July 2nd, 96, if I remember correctly. Or it was July 3rd. Maybe it was July 1st. I don't remember the day it came out, but I went to see it on opening day, and it wasn't even a movie I was looking forward to. I didn't know anything about the movie. My friend, Jamie, was the one that really wanted to see it. And so it starts off a little boring to a certain degree, but then it's just fun and exciting. And each time I watch it, I enjoy it even more. It's a little annoying that Will Smith, who's building the movie, hardly is in it until like 30 minutes into the movie. But other than that, such memorable characters. You know, Will Smith's character, Captain Stephen Hiller. You have Jeff Goldblum's character, David Levinson, who is just hilarious. Must go faster, go, 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 go. Oh, thank you very much. And you're obsessed with fat ladies. I don't know why I'm mimicking his voice in the movie, but he's awesome. You have Judd Hirsch, who plays Julius Levinson, David's dad. He's hilarious in it. Well, if I knew I was going to meet the president, I would have wore a tie. Wait, you punched the president? Well, he wasn't the president back then. Bill Pullman, okay, he's annoying as President Whitmore. He isn't the best person in the movie. Randy Quaid plays a crazy drunk that says he got abducted by aliens a long time ago. You got Brent Spiner, who's like one of the head people at the Area 51 lab. You've got Robert Loggia, who's a general. He's great. I'm thinking that I'm forgetting somebody big. I guess that's pretty much it of the main people. The females are in it too, but they don't really play that big of a role. But I really like Independence Day. I think it's a great movie from beginning to end. It ends the way I want it to end. You know, we win. Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum save the day, and it's funny. It's got some heart to it. It's got comedy, and I can't say enough good things about it. Independence Day. That's why that's my number 9. And actually, they came out with an Independence Day resurgence some time later. People shit on that movie. The critics shit on that movie, but I happen to like it. Yes, Will Smith is not in it. Okay. But if I can look past that, I think it's just as good. It's just different for us. It's kind of like National Treasure versus National Treasure 2. Obviously, both better movies than Independence Day Resurgence. But if National Treasure 2 would have came out 20 years later instead of 3 years later, it would have been not highly received by critics and people of the movie. So Independence Day, my number 9. Number 8, a movie I probably wouldn't have seen had it not been for a coworker and friend that convinced me to go see a movie with him. And it wasn't a movie that I typically would have watched, but I watched it and then I fell in love with this movie. And that would be The Departed. Now, in my opinion, Leonardo DiCaprio should have won an Oscar for this. He did a really good job. Maybe it was kind of like his other roles, but I think he really played the part well. Jack Nicholson was crazy and great in the movie. You have Mark Wahlberg, who was a cop, who wasn't really in the movie that much, but he was awesome. Alec Baldwin was in the movie. He didn't play a big role, but he was good. Matt Damon plays like he's kind of a bad guy, but he was corrupted by this kingpin guy. He's pretty good in the movie, but I think DiCaprio really steals the show in this movie. He does an awesome job And The Departed is an awesome movie. Basically, DiCaprio's character, if you haven't seen it yet, he is undercover posing as like a mobster with Jack Nicholson's gang. And he's been with this gang forever. He's starting to go crazy because people are getting killed and he doesn't know what to do. He can't tell anybody. Well, eventually he goes to see a police psychologist, and like he talks to her, and it turns out she's the one that's dating Matt Damon's character, and it's a great movie. My friend, he complains about it. Spoiler alert. So the end of the movie, some people get killed by people that are barely in the movie, but they're in the movie for, here and there. And he says that's just a waste of the movie. I don't think so. I think The Departed is an awesome movie, and that's why it's my number 8. Number 7, I think another movie Leonardo DiCaprio should have won an Oscar for. His portrayal of Jordan Belfort was awesome. This movie was awesome. Of course, I'm talking about The Wolf of Wall Street. If you haven't seen this yet, go see it. It's a Jonah Hill movie. I don't like Jonah Hill typically. In this role, he's annoying too, but he's supposed to be annoying. But basically, Leonardo DiCaprio plays the character that's selling stocks and getting rich, selling people, taking their money and selling them these bullshit stocks. And there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of sex, there's a lot of, well, not so much violence. There's a little violence here and there, but just a lot of sex and drugs in the movie. And it's definitely a lot of fun. Margot Robbie's in the movie, and she gets naked, and that's always enjoyable too, in case you wanted another reason to see the movie. But I really like Wolf of Wall Street, and that's my number 7. Number 6, a movie like The Martian that I've seen over and over and over again. I don't know why, but when this came out in 2000, or when Martian came out in 2015, and Passengers came out in 2016, they literally are movies that I will watch every 6 months at least, if not 3 or 4 times. I've seen the movie a lot. I'm talking about Passengers. Movie where you have Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, who play Jim Preston and what is Jennifer Lawrence's character in the movie name? It'll come to me. It's irrelevant. They are going to Earth 2. They want to restart their lives. So they go on this ship, and they're going to be asleep for 90 years. And when they wake up, they'll be fine. They won't have aged, and they'll be on Earth 2, and they'll be able to continue their life on a new planet with more stuff to do. Aurora Lane, that's her name, by the way. My brain's starting to work tonight. I'm not forgetting the name and not saying it through the whole video. But anyway, so during this hibernation stage where nobody's awake, the ship's running itself, the ship has some issues where it gets a meteorite through it, and then things start to malfunction on the ship because other things have to take control of these things to make it work better. Well, anyway, Chris Pratt's character, Jim Preston, wakes up unexpectedly, and he realizes he woke up too late. And he goes searching the ship and realizes nobody's awake, but there's this android played by Michael Sheen, I believe his name is. He was in the Twilight movies. He's like a robot bartender. And he's like, well, I shouldn't wake up here. I should be awake. He's like, yeah, good question. But anyway, he's about to kill himself one day, and he walks by all the pods. He was going to jump out of the ship because he's tired of living alone. And he sees Jennifer Lawrence's character, Aurora Lane's pod, and falls in love with her, and then debates. Should I wake her up? Should I wake her up? Should I wake her up? Well, eventually he does wake her up. They're the only 2 people living on this ship. They start to have fun after her initial depression of not, being able to be on this Earth 2 thing. And and then as this is happening, the ship starts to malfunction even more, because when the meteor went through the ship, the different computers are trying to do too much. So they're all starting to malfunction. Eventually, the ship starts to really malfunction. Then all of a sudden, one of the captains wakes up, played by Lawrence Fishburne. And it's a great movie. I really like it. The end had me going for a second there. I didn't really know what was going to happen, but I love Passengers, and that's why it's my number 6. We are ready for my top 5 favorite movies of all time. And the movie that comes in 5th place is a movie I absolutely love. A lot of people would say the original is better. I happen to like the sequel. The original's great too. That's why it's number 15 on my list after so long of not being on my list. But I realized the importance of the very first one and how great the movie is, despite its predictability. But Scream 2 is my fifth favorite movie of all time. I think the kills are much more elaborate. There's more suspense. Literally at every point in this movie, when I initially saw that in the theater, I didn't know who the killer was. Like every character that came on screen, I'm like, oh, they're the killer. No, wait, they're the killer. No, wait, they're the killer. And it was just crazy. And I remember going to see this opening night in 1997, I believe, and they were all sold out at the place I went to. And then these two girls were standing there, and my friend's like, you got tickets? Because me and my friend went. And so I bought tickets from them for $40. Now, this was in 1997 when movies were like $7 a piece. So I gave them $40 for like a $14 or something like that. But I love the movie. The suspense had me going and going and going. I think this movie has the best killer combination. Although, let's face it, spoiler alert, the first Scream, Billy Loomis and Stu were awesome. But this was way less predictable. Mickey was awesome. And Debbie was pretty good too. Or Miss Loomis, as you want to call her. Nev Campbell was more known in this. And I think it made her better. I really like all the supporting cast members, like, of course, Dewey, Gale, Joel the cameraman. You've got Cece, Sarah Michelle Gellar. You've got the whole like classroom scene where they talk about sequels or inferior films. Not this one, not in my opinion, but I absolutely love Scream 2. Oh, let's not forget about Liev Schreiber. He does a great job as Cotton Weary, where he's actually in this movie, where the last movie was just like footage of him being arrested for the murder of Maureen Prescott, Sidney Prescott's mom. And I absolutely, like I said like 5 times already, I love Scream 2. It's awesome. And that's why it's my number 5. Number 4, a classic movie. Although towards the end it starts to get a little long. And I think that's why I don't have this higher ranked. But The Dark Knight. I really like The Dark Knight. Christian Bale, I think, nails it as Batman. Morgan Freeman is great as well as Lucius Fox. Michael Caine is great as Alfred. My problems with this movie, I do not like Maggie Gyllenhaal as Rachel Dawes. Aaron Eckhart's fine as Two-Face. He shouldn't have been the one that ended the movie. The movie should have ended with Batman and Joker. Heath Ledger was still alive till the end of production on this movie. I don't like how the Joker was left hanging. All of a sudden they went to the 2 ships scene, which took forever, and then it goes to this Two-Face part, and it made the ending bad. It's a great movie. Aside from that, the dialogue is great. Heath Ledger does incredible as Joker, the best Joker by far. Oh, you think Joaquin Phoenix is good as Joker? Not a chance. Jack Nicholson? Not a chance. Jared Leto? Hell no. Cesar Romero? I would almost put him as the second best Joker. I don't like Jack Nicholson's Joker. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, that movie just sucked in my opinion. I know everybody else loves it. I'm the one that hates it. But The Dark Knight, awesome flick. It sucks that Heath Ledger wasn't around to possibly be in The Dark Knight Rises, and he unfortunately died. But this movie is a classic, and it definitely will always be on my list. Number 3. This movie was my favorite movie of all time for almost 20 years. I love this movie. It's an awesome movie. It's almost too good for its time. And that would be Demolition Man. With Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock. You've got supporting cast members like Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary. It's just a great movie. Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, John Spartan, and Simon Phoenix are frozen because they're both considered criminals. John Spartan was a cop that a bunch of innocent people died on his watch. It wasn't his fault, but he got lied to, so they put him in cryostasis. And then Simon Phoenix was the bad guy, Wesley Snipes, and he got time. Well, anyway, eventually Simon Phoenix's character gets paroled, and he has all these special skills during his hibernation, and gets out, starts murdering people. And the world in this movie in the future is a pussy whipped world where like they don't handle violence very well, and like there's swearing machines that give you a ticket for every swear word that you say, which is hilarious actually. So anyway, Simon Phoenix gets out, starts killing a bunch of people, and one of the people like, how do we stop this guy? Who apprehended this criminal when he was apprehended? Oh, there's only one man, the Demolition Man, John Spartan. So then they unfreeze John Spartan. They give him a bunch of rules. They say, you need to apprehend Simon Phoenix, and he does go after him. And he has to deal with the swearing machines, and he has to deal with, instead of toilet paper, there's 3 seashells. And they have this like evil person that's in charge of like everything, Raymond Cocteau, played by Nigel Hawthorne, and his associate Bob, played by Glenn Shaddix, who died. He's a guy that's kind of a chubbier guy that wears a robe in movies. If you've seen Beetlejuice, you know who I'm talking about. But pretty awesome movie for its time. Great movie. Pretty good effects. I'm a big Sylvester Stallone movie fan, so maybe that's why this was my favorite movie for so long. I think this came out in '94, and I didn't have my new favorite movie preceding that until 2012. July of 2012 to be exact. So if you haven't checked out Demolition Man, granted it's a little old now, but I think it's good for its time. They foreshadow different things that happen in the world, like the Schwarzenegger Library. He became president. Well, he wasn't president, but he became a governor of California. So if you haven't seen Demolition Man, check it out. If you want to borrow it from me, I've got it. It's a good movie. My second favorite movie of all time, which became my favorite movie of all time back in 2012 until another movie surpassed that. Awesome movie. I'm going to get a lot of criticism because I have a movie in the Batman series that's better than Dark Knight, and that would be The Dark Knight Rises. Yep, I know you're flipping out right now. I feel it's a much better movie, at least from beginning to end. Obviously, Joker is amazing, but I think Tom Hardy's version of Bane was just as imposing. Maybe not as good speaking-wise. Kind of sounded like this in the bad, but I really liked Bane, and he beat the shit out of Batman, broke his back, which was amazing. Instead of Maggie Gyllenhaal, which I could not stand in Dark Knight, we now have our lead female, Anne Hathaway, playing Selena Kyle. That was awesome. You have other supporting cast members. You have an interesting backstory with Ra's al Ghul's daughter being in the movie. The ending doesn't really make a lot of sense in terms of he's flying the Batwing over the ocean with the nuclear bomb, and all of a sudden he somehow gets out within a second and gets far away enough from the blast radius. But I really like the ending of Dark Knight Rises because he ends up, you think he died. They show Alfred, Lucius, and Commissioner Gordon like at the grave of Bruce Wayne, and you think he's dead. And then they show Michael Caine, Alfred, having tea or whatever, wherever he was drinking in France or somewhere overseas. I don't remember what country it is now. And then he sees Bruce Wayne right there with Selena Kyle. So he essentially faked his death. And then you have him, Bruce Wayne, will something to Blake, the cop, who turns out to be Robin. He gives him the coordinates of the Batcave. And I just really like Dark Knight Rises. I know Dark Knight, really good, until like all the false endings for the movie, where this one was amazing. Then when they all start fighting on the streets in Dark Knight Rises, fucking awesome. That would have been great if Heath Ledger would have been in this movie, but he wasn't. But I really can't say enough good things about The Dark Knight Rises. It's a fucking awesome movie. I don't care what anybody else says. It's 10 out of 10. I remember seeing, and I'll give credit where credit is due, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises had my legs shivering in the theaters because I was so, like, into the movie. So did Scream 2, actually. I was really into that one, too. But if you haven't checked out Dark Knight Rises, or if you really hate it and maybe need a different opinion to make you watch it again, go ahead and check it out. But that's my number 2. And we have come to my favorite movie of all time. I wasn't expecting this movie to be my favorite movie of all time because simply all the movies that preceded it, none really made me that excited. There's a few of them that I like, such as Captain America, Winter Soldier, and I like the original Iron Man. Avengers Infinity War was good, but Avengers Endgame is my favorite movie of all time because this movie is epic. You already know what happens in the movie, but it's 3 hours long. To me, it didn't even seem like it was 2 hours. It went by blazing fast. I was very caught off guard by the fact that Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, was killed in the movie. That I did not see coming. I was actually super depressed for that. But then the whole battle scene with Thanos and our main Avengers going after him, and then Captain America getting the hammer, and then Captain America getting the shit kicked out of him, and all of a sudden he hears on your left, and everybody comes back, and there's this big scene at opening night with the audience cheering like crazy. It's just a different feeling. Like tears are coming down my eyes watching that part where everybody comes back, and then everybody's standing there and they're like, dun 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 dun, Avengers assemble, and everybody screams, and it's just like hair standing up on my arms. I've got goosebumps, and I absolutely loved Avengers Endgame. And Tony Stark dying at the end, I don't mind that. I think that's a great end to his character. It sucked, but it was all right. Now, okay, there's a little slowness toward the end of the movie that, like, the movie took forever to end at a certain point, but I enjoyed every bit of Avengers Endgame up until those points. Like the whole thing with Captain America coming back and being old, that seemed like it went on for too long, and they could have had more to do with everybody else's character. The funeral scene for Tony Stark was pretty sad. Like you're crying with tears of joy, or your eyes are watering at least, and all of a sudden you're like really sad and depressed because you just lost one of your favorite people. And I never really was a fan of the Avengers. I never read any of the comic books. I didn't think any of these movies would be anything when I first went to the original Avengers movie, or even Iron Man when I first saw that one in 2000. What was it, 7 or 8 when it came out? But Avengers Endgame is my favorite movie of all time, and honestly, I don't see anything topping it ever. So I am done with my top 100 favorite movies of all time. What'd you think? I know it was long, especially this one, because I'm rambling, but I hope I at least mentioned a lot of your favorite movies. And like I said, if I'm not, I told you we were going to disagree in a lot of the videos. These are my favorite movies of all time. I'm sorry that I left Gone in 60 Seconds and Negotiator out of it. Next time, they'll be in it for sure. Name the movies that you really like that I included. Name the movies that I should have included that you really like. There's a couple movies that came out that I've never seen before that you would be like, really? Like Die Hard. I've never seen the original Die Hard. I've never seen Part 2. I've seen Die Hard with a Vengeance and Live Free or Die Hard. I've never watched The Godfather all the way through. I've never watched any of Godfather 2. Probably should check those out someday when I get time, amongst everything else that I should watch. So hope you enjoyed all these videos that I've done about my favorite movies of all time. Please talk about your favorites. Smash that like button if you're a movie fanatic. Anybody that you know that would be interested in this, share the video with them. And last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, be a part of something very special, and JDev will return.